A and B started a business with investments in the ratio 3:2 respectively. After 6 months from the start of the business, C joined and respective ratio between investments of B and C was 5:1. After 6 months, C joined. If the annual profit earned by them was 5,980, what was the difference between A share and B share in the profit? Right, business happened for 1 year. A started with 3:2 ratio and B and C 5:1. Who is common? B. B is common. So you need to have same investments in both the ratios for B. Let's go for rainbow multiplication. Multiply first ratio with 5, second ratio with 2, then ratio becomes 15, 10, 2. A started with 15 parts and was there for 12 months. C started with 10 parts and was there for 12 months again. And C joined after 6 months, so he will be there for 6 months. Cancellation with 12, 12, 12 and then this one. Ratio is 15:10:1. Total number of parts 26 parts. Difference between A share and B share is 5 parts. Answer should be 5 multiple, all are right. Next 5980. 26 parts is equal to 59,000, 5,980. 5 parts is how much? Amma? Annual profit, right? 26 2 times 52, you have 78, 3 times, so 23 and then 0, 230 times, and 5 times, 230 10 times 2,300 and make it half, 1,150. Next, sum invested in scheme B is 1.5 times the sum invested in scheme A. Investment in scheme A is made for 5 years at 12% per annum, and in scheme B 3 years for 10% simple interest. The total interest earned from both the schemes is 2,520. How much was invested in scheme A? Let's say we have invested 100% in scheme A, and in scheme B it becomes 1.5 times. 1.5 times. So if it is 100%, scheme B becomes 150%. So interest earned in scheme B will also be 1.5 times of interest earned in scheme A, right? With respect to this, it will be 1.5 times. Scheme A is given for how many years? 5 years at 12%. You will be getting 60%. And scheme B for 3 years at 10% will be 30%. 30% of this will be equal to 1.5 times of this much. 1.5 times of 30% is 45%. Or else straightforward calculate 30% of this. No issue. Total it is 105%. 105% is 2520 and you are asked about 100%. Try to get answer from denominator. Answer from options. 105% is 2520. 100% should be less than this. This cannot be your answer. 10% of this is 240. 5% is 120. If you add 120 to this, will you get 2520? Hence 2400 right answer. A man sold an article for 8,750 and incurred a loss. Had he sold the article for 10,250, his gain would have been twice the amount of loss. So we have two values here, both are selling prices. Here if you get X rupees loss, here you are getting profit, and profit would be 2 times of this. So here you will get 2x profit. X loss and then 2x profit, difference is 3x, and which is equal to 1500. Difference between these two numbers is 1500, which is x loss and 2x profit difference, which is 3x. And from this you can calculate x as 500. And when you are selling it for 8,750, you are getting x rupees loss, which is 500 loss. 500 loss makes you 8,750 selling price. Then cost price will be 8,750 plus 500, 9250, and you are asked about selling price at 10% profit. 10% of this is 925. Answer should end with 75. Only one option, 10,175. For this basically you can verify 11 multiple. When you are getting 10% profit, Selling price becomes 110%. Should be a multiple of 110. Should be a multiple of 11. This is 11 multiple. This is also 11 multiple. More than one option, so you have to verify. If there is only one 11 multiple, you need not to solve this. As you have more than one option where you can find 11 multiple, more than one 11 multiple. 34. Respective ratio between total number of students studying in college A and college B is 3:4. In college B, out of the total number of students, out of 4 parts, 2/5 are girls, and out of which 40% study arts, and the remaining 576 girls. Remaining, if 40% is our, remaining is 60%. 60% in the sense 3/5, right? And which is equal to 576. And you are asked about what is the total number of students in college A. College A has how many students? 3 parts. Answer should be 3 multiple. All are 3 multiples. So you have to calculate. No other option. Now, let's go for cancellation with 6. 600 times 600. This is 24 less than 600. 24 has 4 fours, 4 6 times. So this is 4 times less than 100 times, which is 96. So 4 parts is equal to 96 into 25. But you need to calculate 3 parts. 3 parts is equal to how much? 4 24 times into 25. 4 24 times into 25. 3 24 times into 25. You can write this number 24 as 6 into 4. 4 25 is 100. 6 3 is 18. Answer 1800. The respective ratio between the speed of the boat in upstream and the speed of the boat downstream is 3:5. What is the speed of the boat in still water? If it covers 22.5 kilometers upstream in 2.5 hours. Speed of the boat in still water. Right. In 2.5 hours, it can cover 22.5 kilometers. Right. Upstream speed will be equal to 22.5 by 2.5 hours by 2.5. Is that okay? 4 2.5s 10, 8 2.5s 20, 9 2.5s 22.5. So upstream speed is 9 km per hour, but you are given ratio between upstream speed and then downstream speed. 3 parts and then 5 parts. 3 parts is this much. 3 parts is this much. 3 3 is 9. You are asked about 5 parts. 5 3 is 15 km per hour. What is your question? Man speed in still water. Fine. If you have downstream speed and then upstream speed, how will you get man speed? Average of downstream and then upstream, which is 4 parts. 3 parts is 9 km per hour. 4 parts is how much? 4 3 is 12 km per hour. Next, 36. A bag contains 4 red balls, 7 yellow balls and 5 pink balls. If 2 balls are drawn at random from the bag, one after another without replacement, what is the probability that the first ball is red and the second ball is pink? So how many total balls you have? Initially 16, and first ball is to be red ball. In how many ways can you do that? 4C1 out of 16. So you can do that in 4 by 16 ways. Out of 16, 1 ball is drawn. Now you have 15 balls only, and you can select 1 ball now. You can do that in 15C1 ways, and that should be pink ball. How many pink balls we have? 5. You can do that in 5C1 ways. 1 by 4 into 1 by 3, 1 by 12. Next, the sum of radius and height of a cylinder is 16. R plus H is 16. And if the total surface area of the cylinder is 704, total surface area, how much is that? 2 pi r h plus 2 pi r square. Yes or no? If you take 2 pi r common, that will be r plus h, and this is given as 704, and r plus h is 16. I'll replace this with 16. What is your question? Volume. What is volume? Pi r square h. Now you need to know radius and height separately. From this, pi in the sense 22 by 7, so I'll write as 2 into 22 by 7. Is it 22 multiple? Yes. 22. 3 times 66, and then 2 times 2 into 16, 32, 32 cancel, r is equal to 7. If r is equal to 7, then height will be 9. And you are asked about pi r square h, volume. 22 by 7 pi r square 7 into 7, and height 9. Answer should be 9 multiple. How many options are there? 1. More than 1. More than 1. And what is 11? How many 11 multiples you have? First, need not to solve anything. You don't need to do anything actually. This is also not required. As you are asked about pi r square h, 22 by 7 you have. You cannot cancel 22 in numerator. Answer should be 22 multiple, should be a multiple of 11. There is only one 11 multiple, go for it. Need not to write a single letter or single number. Just verify 11 multiple. Need not to know anything, right? Next, 38. Abhi and Biju are traveling from point A to B, which are 120 kilometers apart. Traveling at a certain speed, Abhi takes 1 hour less time than Biju to reach point B. If Abhi doubles his speed, he will take 2 hours 30 minutes less than Biju to reach the point B. What speed was Abhi's driving from point A to B? Actual speed adigar. Right. Speed and then time. Moving with x kilometer per hour, he is late by 1 hour. T minus 1. Let's take Biju takes t hours to reach destination. Now he is 1 hour late. So it is t plus 1. T plus 1 na? 1 hour less hai kada? Minus 1. 1 hour less. Now if he doubles his speed, moving with 2x, he will reach destination less than by 2.5 hours. So now it will be t minus 2.5. When you have speed and time, we'll go for inversely proportional rule. X increases to 2x increases by x. In the sense, speed increased by 1 time. For always increase of 1, there will be decrease of 1 by 2. What is time difference in both the cases? 1.5. Time should decrease by half, which is equal to 1.5 hours. If half is 1.5, 1 is 3 hours. So the time taken in first case is 3 hours. The time taken in first case is 3 hours to cover 120 kilometers. If he takes 3 hours to cover 120 kilometers, speed becomes 40 kilometer per hour. In time and distance, wherever we have time and speed, we'll use inversely proportional. At the same time, in time and work, wherever we have efficiency and number of days, there also we will use the same concept. Now, a tank has 2 inlets, A and B. A alone takes 4 hours and B alone takes 6 hours to fill that empty tank completely when there is no leakage. A leakage was caused which would empty the tank, full tank completely in X number of hours when no inlet is open. Now, when only inlet A was open, It took 8 hours to fill the tank, to empty the tank, to fill the empty tank. Right, A actually alone takes how many hours to fill the tank? Now it is taking because of leakage. With its usual capacity, in 8 hours, tap A can fill the empty tank for 2 times, right? Yes or no? But it was filled for only 1 time. So leakage emptied it for 1 time. Yes or no? In how many hours? 8 hours. So leakage would empty it in 8 hours. Now if B is open, how much time will B alone take to fill the empty tank completely when leakage is open? B alone takes 6 hours to fill the tank, and now leakage is also open. Leakage can empty the full tank in 8 hours. Let's go for units. LCM 24. Per hour work, B can fill 4 units and C can empty 3 units. Together can fill 1 unit. In how many hours? 1 hour. To fill 24 units, it needs 24 hours. ఈ ప్రాబ్లంలో C 8 hours తీసుకురావటం మేజర్. 1 hour వర్క్ తీసుకున్నదంతా చేసి దానికంటే లాజికల్ స్టేట్మెంట్స్తో C 8 hours ఎంటీ చేస్తుందని చెప్పడం కరెక్ట్. 8 hours ఏ అనేది 2 times ఫిల్ చేస్తుంది ట్యాంక్ని, కానీ అది 1 time ఫిల్ అయింది అంటే లీక్ 1 time ఎంటీ చేసింది. ఎంత టైంలో? 8 hours. కావాల్సింది కూడా అదే. లీక్ వుడ్ టేక్ 8 hours టు ఎంటీ ద ఫుల్ ట్యాంక్. అర్థమైందా? అర్థం కాలే? ఇప్పుడు అర్థమవుతుంది చూడండి. A alone takes 4 hours. A and C, keeping in mind C is leakage, takes 8 hours to fill the tank. LCM is 8 units. A alone takes 4 hours to fill 80 units. Per hour 2 units. A and C together 1 unit. A alone does 2 units, but A and C does only 1 unit per hour. So C empties 1 unit in 1 hour. If it can empties 1 unit in 1 hour, to empty the full tank, to empty 8 units, it needs 8 hours. అర్థమైందా? ఇందాక అర్థం కాల. సో లీకేజ్ టేక్స్ 8 hours to empty the tank, and then it follows. ఇందాక చెప్పాం కదా, మళ్ళీ అది B and C. It empties the tank in 8 hours and B can fill the tank in 6 hours. LCM of these two 24 units. 1 hour work is B can fill 4 units. C empties 24 units in 8 hours. In 1 hour it can empty 3 units. If both B and C works for 1 hour, it empties 1 unit in 1 hour. It fills 1 unit in 1 hour. To fill 24 units, it needs 24 hours. Next. At present, the respective ratio between the ages of A and B is 5:9, and that between A and C is 1:3. 5 years hence, the sum of ages of A, B, C will be 1 or 2 years. What is the percentage of A? Percentage of A. After 5 years, their sum is given as 1 or 2. After 5 years, in the sense, for each person, age increases by 5, and for 3 persons, 15. Sum of their percentages becomes 105 minus 15, which is 87. And here, A and B's ages ratio is 5:9, and here we have 1:3. Who is common? A. And there A is 5 parts, and here it is 1 part. So let me multiply this equation, this ratio with 5. So then it becomes 5:9:15. So 5 parts, 9 parts, 15 parts. Total 29 parts. 29 how many times is 87? 3 times. What is your question? Percentage of A, 5 parts. 5 3s 15. What is 6 to 50? Quadratic. Any particular question? Right, total number of employees, percentage given. Science graduates, commerce graduates, and then arts graduates. Total number is given here for 5 companies. Employees given in company can be categorized only in 3 types. Okay, missing values are there. Fine. 51, question number 51. What is the difference between number of commerce graduate employees and arts graduate employees in Q? In Q, what is your question? Commerce and then arts. Difference is asked. Difference is given. Difference. Commerce and art. Here we have 33 and this is 45. Total it is 78. 78. Remaining is 22%. And you are asked about difference between arts and commerce. 45 and then 22%. How much is that? 23%. 23% of what? 1200. Instead, can't I calculate 12% of 2300? 23% of 1200 or this much? Yes? 10%? 230. 1%? 23. 2%? 46. So answer is 230 plus 46. 276. The average number of science graduate employees and commerce graduate employees in company T was 308. What was the total number of employees in company T? Company T. You are given average between science and commerce. Right. For company T, we already have 75% here. Remaining is 25%. Average between 45% and 25% is 35%. Yes or no? 35% is equal to 308. And you are asked about 100% is how much? Commerce and science. Yes. 35% is 208. 100% is how much? Coming. Wait. What about 10 times of 35? 350. But 308 is 42 less than 350. One time of this number? 35. But still you need to subtract 7 more. How will you get 7 using this? Divided by 5. Divided by 5. In the sense, 10 times minus 1 time minus 1/5. 10 times minus 1 time. Me part 10. 100. 10 times minus 1 time. 1/5. 20. 900 minus 20. Answer 880. Right? Understand? లేదా క్రాస్ మల్టిప్లికేషన్కి పోవాలి, లేదా డైరెక్ట్గా మల్టిప్లై చేసుకోవాలి. 8 టైమ్స్ ఆ తర్వాత నాకు రాదు. అక్కడ ఆన్సర్ ఉంది కదా. 8 టైమ్స్ 350 minus 70 280. Apart from 280 you have 28. So it is 8.8 times 880. నేనైతే 10 చేస్తా, అదే ఈజీ. Next 53. If the respective ratio between number of students, number of science graduate employees and arts graduate employees in company R was 7:4, what was the number of arts graduate employees in company R? Arts graduate employees, 4 parts. Answer should be 4 multiple, so many are there. Fine. This is for company R. Science and arts, first and last. We already have 34% here. Remaining is 66%. Now 66% is divided into 11 parts. 11 parts. So 11 parts is equal to 66%. Science graduate employees are 7 parts. 6 times 42%. And arts graduates are 4 parts. 6 times 24%. You're asked about 24% arts graduate employees in company R. How much is this? 950. Now you need to calculate 24% of 950. Can't we calculate 95% of 240? Yes or no? How will you get 95%? Subtract 5%. 10% 24. 5% 12. Subtract 12 from this number. Answer 228. 228. Next 54. Number of employees in company S was 3 times the number of employees in company P. If they are 100%, S will be 300%. If the difference between arts graduate employees in company P and that in company S is 240, company P lo total employees enta anna. Arts employees difference is given as 240. And you are asked about 100%. 100% is how much? Arts employees, how much percent is this? 30% of what? 100 will be 30% only. Now you already have 80% here, remaining is 20%. 20% of what? 300. How much is that? 60. Here we have 30% and here we have 60%. Difference is 30%. 30% is equal to 240. How many times is this? 8 times. 100% into 8. 800. Total number of employees in company Q increased by 10% from March 2011 to March 2012. Company Q, this is March 2011. In March 2012, it increases by 10%. 10% of this, how much is that? 120. So total becomes 1320. Yes or no? Right. If 30% of the total employees in Q in March 2012 were science graduates, what was the number of science graduate employees in the company in 2012? 30% of this number. 30% of what? 1320. Right? 10%, 132. 30% into 3. 100 into 3, 300. 32 3 times, 96. 396 answer. $56. What is this? 500. 80% of this? Yes or no? Wait, I'll tell you. 80% of 560. Can I take 0 here and can I say 800% of 56? 800% will be 8 times, right? 58 times 400. 6 8s 48. You can write it as 448. Take this 448 to right hand side, becomes minus, and you already have 523, and that will be what percent of 500? How much is this? Subtract 500, add 52. Subtract 500, add 52. 52, 75. 75 forms what percent of 500? 10% is 50, 5% is 25, 15% is 75. 15% answer. Next, this is 500 divided by 2, 250. You need to subtract 250. 2000, 300, 400, 700, 42, 58, 100. So total that is 2800 minus 250, 2550. 2550. Under root 257, 16. 16 into 9. 16 10 times minus 16 1 time. 144. 144 plus 780. 781. How much is that? 925. Next, 451 divided by 25. Let's write it as 450. How many 20s will be there in 100? In 400? In 50? Total? 18. So this is 18 into 432 divided by 24. 6 3 times, 4 times, 408 times. You can write this number as a multiple of 3 because I have 3 here. 3 into, how much is that? 36. 3 square into 6 square, 18 square. X square is 18 square, x is 18. Next, 60. 340 minus 115, 55. This is 40 into 22, 880. You have 880 and then 340. From this you need to subtract 155. Let me add this, or else you can subtract 155. Let me subtract 155 from this. 800 minus 100, 700. 80 minus 55, 25. Answer 1065. 1065. Next, 61 to 65. Right, number of shirts of ABC brand sold in town P and Q in 6 different months. P and Q. Right, here also every thin line occupies 10. Yes or no? You have 50 gap and you have mean 5 lines. Every line is 10. Now, 61. The number of shirts sold in town P in September was, September is not given, 20% less than the number of shirts sold in the same town in March. This is for P. Right, how much is this? 160. And it is 20% less than 160. We'll do that later. What is the respective ratio between shirts sold in September and those sold in May? May, how much is this? 200. 200. And in September, it is 80% of this number. 20% less they said, right? 10% is 16. 20% is 32. 32 less than 160. 128. You asked about ratio between 128 to 200. Cancellation with 8, 8, 8 10 times, 80, 6 times. So total it is 16 times and this is 25 times. 16 by 25. Next, 62. What is the average number of shirts sold in town Q in March, May, June and July? Q in March, May, June, July. March, May, June, July. Right. So let me write numbers here. 80, 180, 300, 260. You asked about average. Average. Alright. 600, 160, 220, 820 divided by 4, 205. What is the difference between total number of shirts sold in both the towns together in April and total number of shirts sold in both the towns together in June? Difference between total number of shirts sold in both the towns together in April and in June. April and June. Difference. June, these two. April, these two. Difference, right? Now, this is 150 and this is 130. Total 280. What is this? 260. Still you need to subtract 20. What is this? Subtract 20 from this. 2. Again, the difference is. The number of shirts in town P increased by what percent from April to July? Town P, April to July. April to July. P. This is 310. April 150. 150 increases to 310. Increased by 160. That of 150 into 100. Numerator is more than denominator. Answer is more than 100%. All are 100%. Now, what about 10% of denominator? And it is how much more than 150? 10. 10 out of 15 is 2/3, right? 2/3 of 10% is 62 by 3%. Answer 162 by 3%. Next, number of shirts sold in town Q in August is what percent more than the number of shirts in town P in the same month? August. Q it is 270 and it is 250. 270 is how much more than 250? 20. That of 250. Percentage, right? So into 100. What about 10% of denominator? 25. And numerator is 20. Answer less than 10%, which is, we have two options. Yes or no? 1% is 2.5. 4% is 10. 8% is 20. Or else 20 out of 25. 20 out of 25. 4 by 5. Out of 10%. 8%. Right? By this time, or at least in next 1 week or 10 days, you should know what is your strong area. You should know, one should know your strong area, whether you are strong in arithmetic or reasoning or English.